This is very exciting because the red button is on. Andrew and Katie from TimeTrap Escape Rooms, and from the very famous episode of the Rebel Entrepreneur podcast that came out this week.
Indeed.
Welcome, Andrew and Katie, all the way from sunny Reading this evening. It's absolutely brilliant to see you both. You look very relaxed and very chilled out, very happy. Is that the truth, or is that smoke and mirrors, or a bit of both?
Well, we sort of had 2 months off. So, yeah, we're pretty chilled.
Yeah.
Despite all the bad things, it has been less stressful in a way the last 2 months.
I think like a lot of people, there's like days where you're like, oh no, it's all awful. And then you get days where you're like, oh, it's okay, it's going to get better. And then you get another day where it's all awful. But so, yeah, I think that's the same with a lot of people, but you've just got to manage that, haven't you?
Yeah, you just got to get on with it. You've got no choice, have you?
Exactly.
So look, we're here on the Facebook Live. We're just waiting for a few more folk to join us. We've already got Kerry and Joanne, and we've got Russell. Brilliant to see you guys. And tonight's live stream is a special one for a few reasons. The first reason is this is our 20th Facebook live stream, which is unbelievable. Since the lockdown happened, Jack and I have abandoned Tuesday and Thursday evenings. They don't exist anymore for us. And we've devoted ourselves to these live streams. And we've had nearly 30,000 views, which is, it works out something like 75,000 minutes of live streams. So that's super special. And thirdly, you guys came to a pop-up business school. I think, Katie, we met you in, was it 2016? Was that the year that you came along? Was it earlier than that?
Yeah, it was February 2016.
And we were just saying before this, before the live tonight, you came along to a pop-up business school. Had you finished your degree, or were you in the process of finishing your degree? I can't quite remember.
I just finished it.
You just finished it.
Andrew was still doing his. I just finished.
Right. So you left him in university doing his dissertation.
Yeah.
And you came along to pop-up business school. And like we were saying a little earlier, I think you guys were 21 when you started TimeTrap Escape Rooms, but that wasn't your first business, because the first thing that I saw you doing, you had an Etsy store and you were painting lamps. Your business was called Shadow Lamps. Let's talk about that first. Never mind TimeTrap. We'll get to that in a minute. Was Shadow Lamps your first entrepreneurial venture, or had you done a couple of things before that?
That depends how you define entrepreneurial in a way. But that was probably the first thing I'd done that had made any sort of significant money. Yeah, was Shadow Lamps, sure.
Okay, but not your first experiment.
Well, this is super random, but when I was in uni, we had automatic lights in the bathroom, and if you went in the middle of the night, they blinded you. So I made a kind of light switch for mine to stop that from happening. And then everybody loved it, and I ended up making them for like the whole flat, these light switches. I made them out of yogurt pots. So I was doing weird entrepreneurial things like that. But yeah, Shadow Lamps was the first time I made any money from doing weird things, probably. And that started at uni as well. I made a lamp just for myself. And again, people saw it, and then people started asking for them. And so I made a couple for other people. And then someone was like, why aren't you selling these? So I got an Etsy shop. And then I came to a pop-up business.
So Kate's with us, Oliver After Dark, Hayley's with us, so I recognise that name. Teresa's been to every single one of the live streams, which is fantastic, Teresa. You're an absolute legend. Elizabeth is here. My good friend Duncan from way back is watching from Auckland, New Zealand. So we have a global reach. Dave Moore's watching. Great to see all of these folk here. Please share this post. We're going to be diving into starting a business without spending any money. Debt-free entrepreneurship is a little bit of the topic. We're going to talk about what it's like to grow a business, how you can make friends with Fortune 500 companies, how you can launch your business in Germany, how you can hire 14 people and you still haven't reached your 26th birthday yet. Is that right? Did I get that number right? Have I
Yeah.
forgotten if I got the wrong number?
A
Yeah.
month, it's a month
So-
today for me.
Yeah, in 1 month, Andrew will be 26.
Okay, excellent. Well, that makes me feel slightly happier. Chatting to you guys does make me wonder what on earth I've been doing with my life. So starting your business, TimeTrap Escape Rooms, we're going to talk about that very shortly. But you started that at 21. Both of you graduated from university with degrees. This is not the thing you're supposed to do when you leave university. You're supposed to go and get a proper job and and use your degree. What was going through your mind as you hit your final years in uni? What made you think, actually, I don't think I want to go down the corporate route. I don't think I want to be on a grad scheme. I don't think I want to do the conventional route. I want to create something for myself. When did that idea first come about?
Yeah, for me, it was a bit different to Katie because I'd been doing a business degree and I'd had a placement year where I'd been able to sort of go out and see what the corporate world was like. I was at Nissan for a year in a marketing role, and I think I enjoyed that year as a whole. But overall, I sort of sensed that working for a big company wasn't quite for me, and that's when I got the sense that I'd want to work for a small company at least. I didn't know right until right until the point where we discussed setting up TimeTrap that it would actually be our own company I'd be working for. So for me, I think I'd always wanted to work for myself one day, but I just didn't know it would be straight after university. And then from your point,
Mine was a bit different. I think for Andrew, he wanted to work for a startup, and for me, I wanted to do something I enjoyed. I didn't know that like Andrew, I didn't know it would be our own business necessarily. I had 2 jobs since graduating while I was waiting for Andrew to do his last year. The first one I hated because it was boring, and the second one was in interior design, so it was creative, and I actually used a lot of the things I learned running our business now. But I got made redundant, and that was why I came to a pop-up business school, and that was where everything started from that point to leading to TimeTrap, basically.
Right, outstanding. Now, for anybody that's watching this that's been to a pop-up business school or is thinking about coming to them, I know we've got Aling from Wales is here. Hi, Louise. It's great to see you as well. I remember this very clearly. We chatted about this just before you came on tonight, that we were running our first event in a shopping centre. So we're in the Oracle shopping centre in Reading, and there's about 100 or so people in the room. And I remember you sat in the audience for the first day, and I think it might have been maybe even the first 2 days, but I'm not sure. I can't quite remember. I don't remember you sat there for very long. And it was almost like you suddenly went, okay, well, this is quite interesting. I'll listen, but because there's a shop front here inside the Oracle shopping centre, I'm just going to sit myself in the window and listen to the stuff that's happening at the event at the other side of the room. But I'm going to pitch up my business and I'm going to do it in the window of the shopping centre. And you made money faster than anyone else, probably at a pop-up business school ever. Wow. Just by doing that. So please take note, everybody. If you're coming to an event, yeah, of course, you listen, but it was the action that you took that really impressed me. And I thought, and I remember when you said that you weren't going to continue with the shadow lamps, I thought it was just a matter of time before you guys were going to do something. So firstly, kudos to you guys for making that happen. Getting the lamps sold and then launching something at 21. Where did the escape room thing come from? What possessed you to start an escape room business? I love this.
It came up at that pop-up event. So I was making the lamps, and yeah, people were buying them, which was great. But I was talking about scaling it up in order to, make a proper living from it. And from talking to all of you at Pop-Up, I realised that I was going to have to mass produce them or something, and I was going to lose the hand painting. That was what I really enjoyed about them. So whilst I was still at that pop-up event, I started thinking, what else do I love doing? And that's where escape rooms came from. They were still really new then, but I played a couple, and I think really what escape rooms come down to is fun puzzles and awesome sets. And I really enjoy interior design, and I really enjoy making puzzles and quizzes and all of that kind of thing. So escape rooms were kind of just like putting two of my hobbies together. So obviously that equals something you love if you can make money doing that. So that's where it came from. So yeah, I didn't actually abandon the lamp straight away. I carried on making them for, I think, about the first year of TimeTrap. I kept making them because we weren't earning any money at that point. So yeah, I did keep it up. But yeah, so I think that was February, March, and then by April, Andrew was on board with the idea. I just needed a bit of backup in the business department. So how we split it now is Andrew does the business side and I do the creative side, and then we're both doing the part we love most. So yeah, cool. So from April we chatted, and then in June we officially went for it and started the business. So it's nearly our 4th birthday.
Great. Wow, that's amazing. So Andrew, so it's mainly Katie's fault that you got roped into this. Is that what the truth is here?
I can't imagine what we'd be doing otherwise. It'd be quite an interesting. It'd be quite interesting to look at what we'd be doing if we hadn't started TimeTrap. I'd quite like to see that sometimes. But yeah, it's completely her fault. Andrew,
how relevant was your business degree and the experience you had doing marketing at Nissan to what you're doing now?
I say this a lot, but a business degree doesn't set you up for running a business. You don't they don't teach you how to start up and how to finance your startup. They don't teach you how to start up without any debt. They do teach you certain things like accountancy or marketing, brand strategy, like those kind of things, but you don't get the practical skills needed to start a business. And I think you can never really know how to start a business. I think what you teach a lot is you just got to do it. And I think a lot of the time you do learn on the job. You can definitely gain knowledge from different resources, but if you want to do it and you have a passion for it, then you just do need to start doing it. And I think that's what we did. And it's been useful since, but I mean, could we have done it without a business degree? Maybe, but yeah, it's been useful, but not essential, basically.
Cool. So probably as we see you guys grow and take over the world, maybe it'll become more useful as time goes on. Exactly. I think what was going through my mind is when you decided to, so almost 4 years ago, you decided to launch the business. How did you go about launching a business? Because I'm guessing you, having been to PopUp Business School, you weren't excited about taking on a loan to start a business. You didn't want to borrow money, but you needed a space to run an escape room. At the time for you, I mean, we'll talk about what's happened since the pandemic, and I think you've adapted your business brilliantly. We're going to talk about that for sure. But what went through your mind when you went, okay, well, we need a premises because we need an escape room. What was the activity what was the first few things that you did? How did you go about getting a venue?
Yeah. So Katie came to the first pop-up in April of 2016.
First Reading pop-up.
Yeah, the first Reading pop-up, and then there was February, sorry. And then we went to another one that you did in Reading in June 2016. And it was that week that we sort of really knuckled down. And again, whilst the talks were ongoing, we were listening, but we were also sending off emails to different people asking if they had any spare space. And one of the people we approached, we actually approached someone asking if we could use Reading Prison, which is empty.
That was important to note.
Yes, yeah. And basically that was a massive long shot. We weren't going to get it.
We should explain that it's a Victorian prison. It's very characterful. It would have been a good setting for an escape room.
Yes, yeah. For anyone that doesn't know yet. And basically we didn't get that, but the person that we emailed came back to us and said, we can't give you this whole prison, but we can give you a slot at the Reading Fringe Festival, which was in 2016, which was in July 21st, I think it was 2016. And that was our first gig, basically.
Right.
So we got that space,
Made an
which
escape
was
room really quickly.
yeah.
Like 3 weeks.
Was that a paid gig, or did you do it for free?
No, so they sold the tickets for us. We didn't have any infrastructure to do that yet. So we were just like any artists at the Fringe Festival. They sold the tickets and split the funds. So we did make a little bit of money, but it cost us so much to make the game that we did make a bit of a loss. But we really did it to test the idea, to test our capabilities. So
Yeah.
we achieved that.
So I'm guessing you enjoyed it. Just a quick question about the emails that you sent to try and get something, you know, to get the first gig and get the first premises. Do you remember how many different people you approached and what sort of things you said in the email to blag a space?
Gosh, do you remember?
I can't. That was
We tried to target them. I remember that. We didn't just blanket email like everybody. We tried to target them at first to places that we thought were most likely.
It wasn't masses. It was, I think, because it was targeted, we sort of understood the people that might reply, perhaps, and so it wasn't loads, but it was certainly enough that we got a few responses, and yeah, one of those responses worked out in the end.
I think what we did next is a more realistic example of having to do hard work, because once we had done that pop-up at the Reading Fringe Festival, we wanted to do another pop-up to borrow some other space, and for that we walked around in person instead of sending emails around Reading, and went into any establishment that we thought would have some empty space, and that we really did walk around all day for miles, and the last place we went in was the only one that said yes. So that's more realistic example of how you have to put in a lot of hard work sometimes to get the right people to listen to you.
Right. So basically you went on a pub crawl and called it work.
Yeah,
pretty much, but we didn't get to stop for any drinks.
it's quite depressing going into all the different pubs and not having a drink. Yeah.
And what was your pitch when you were going into those places? What was your approach? And I'm fascinated because it's ever so funny. I'm chatting to you like I've known you for years. I mean, we did meet about 4 or 5 years ago, but 4 years ago. But I tell your story, and it's so funny to hear you actually saying the same words that I say. I feel like I know you guys really well. But I don't know what you said in the pitch. That's fascinating to me. You know, what was your approach, and you know, how nervous did you feel when you were asking for premises for free? Because we get that question all the time. People think they need to spend money on a premises. What was the blag? You know, what was your strategy, and how did you make friends? What was your pitch? Do you remember?
I think we sort of used what we already had. So we used that we were at the Fringe for the 2 days, and that we got in the newspaper and we got on Radio Berkshire. So that was definitely
we tried to give ourselves some gravitas,
even though we didn't have much. But we tried to use what we had, and I think it was just being sort of open and honest and
just quite genuine, I think. And
I think people appreciate that.
We did worry that people would look at us and think, what do these children think they're doing? But I think potentially the upside to that was that they wanted to help us more, because we were just there with our little faces.
We had a few people.
Help us.
Had a few people asking if it was for a college project.
Oh yeah. No, we got that for a while, and it did get a little
bastards.
After a while, yeah. Or they would ask, like, when we were open in our proper venue, they'd say, like, "Is this your Saturday job?" But it's quite fun to say, "No, I own the business actually." So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I can only remember talking to Paul.
The guy that eventually gave us the space.
He was the one that gave us the space, our big break.
So describe the space to me, the first event that you ran. What was the how long did you have it for, and what did the space look and feel like?
So it was in a pub called Great Expectations, which is Charles Dickens themed, and there's a room at the front which they sort of use for functions, and it was great because it was already decorated in like a Dickensian way. So we did a Charles Dickens themed game, of course. That helped a lot because the surrounding was already kind of done for us in a way. We had it for 6 weeks. and they gave it to us for free. We sort of suggested that we'd be open to a share of the profits, but he was just like, no, it's fine, just have it for free. Like, they understood that people would save for a drink or food afterwards, or that they might do, and that was enough for them, really. I also just think he was a genuinely nice guy, and if you can find genuinely nice people to help you, then definitely don't lose them, because we owe him a lot. And I think they honestly would have actually had us back as well. The only reason we had an end date was because it was October, November by this point, and they had Christmas events in that room. But I think they would have taken us back in January, but we had our eye on permanent premises by that point.
Right. And at what point did you decide that we're going to go for this? Was it when you were cooking up the idea in June, when you were, at the second event that you came to? Did you decide then, no, we're absolutely going to make this happen? Or was it during the fringe, or was it during that 6-week experiment? When did it become clear to you guys? And it might be a different answer from both of you, which would be interesting. Like, when did it become clear that we go, no, this is a thing, we're going to absolutely make this happen?
I think one of the things that you guys sort of teach is that you take little risks rather than one massive risk. Take little risks and work it up each time so you get bigger and bigger. And I think that's what we did. At the fringe, we put in, I think at this very start, we put in £1,000 each of savings. And that's what we used to create the first basically 2 games. And so it was just seeing if it worked. If it worked, we'd do it a little bit bigger. So we started with a 2-day event, then we had a 6-week event, and then eventually a permanent premises.
We're still trying to see if it's going to work. Like, well, we've never had the conversation where we've been like, okay, it's working. So we've just done bigger and bigger projects, and we never talked about it. So yeah, I think that's hard. I guess when we decided to take on a permanent venue, that was a serious jump, because that was obviously some sort of liability and things like that. We decided to do that. It was actually quite near the beginning of the Dickens game. I think we started selling tickets for the Dickens game before it was open, and it went really well, considering we hadn't had that much time to create a presence on social media or in the local community.
I also think that because escape rooms were still quite new at the stage, local press were picking it up and being like, oh, an escape room in town, that's quite cool.
That's true.
So that helped a lot. And
people that were getting interested in escape rooms were sort of actively looking for them, so that helps a lot if people are like trying to find you. So yeah, tickets were going really well, and so I think it was like maybe 2 weeks into the 6 weeks, did we view the building then?
Yeah, I think
we went to view our building 2-3 weeks into the pop-up, and then we view it maybe a week later, and then we said, yeah, we want it. So I guess that was when we were like, okay, maybe this is definitely going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I'm going to dive into something in a minute to find out from you guys how the process that you went through to make sales and sell tickets and all that kind of thing. We'll dive there in a second. But just before I do, how did your families react to you being entrepreneurial? Do you come from an entrepreneurial background? Do your parents, brothers and sisters have businesses? Are you the first, because you spent 3 and 4 years respectively in uni. What was that like in terms of how your family reacted to you starting at 21?
Yeah,
they're quite different.
Yeah,
you guys go first.
I think my mum and dad are watching, so hi mum.
Yeah. So obviously they were very supportive.
Yeah, no, they were. Yeah. They were. I don't know if they were like, we'll support him, but we're not sure if it's going to work out. I think they had belief. But yeah, my dad set up his own business, and even my granddad, so his dad as well, owned his own business. So there's definitely sort of an entrepreneurial gene, I guess. And then my mum actually came to PopUp Business School in Newport. So
no way, fantastic.
She's got her own business now as well. So she sells personalized greeting cards. So it's there's definitely a bit of that there. So that they were really supportive, and yeah, we're very, very thankful for that.
It's Humblebee if anyone needs a card.
Humblebee cards, you heard it here. I'm sure Jack will try and find the link now if he's if he's not watching a movie or cooking up some sort of MasterChef meal. Great stuff. And how about you, Katie? What was that like for you?
So my parents are divorced, so I think they had quite different reactions, but both positive. My dad was pretty similar to Andrew's parents as well.
He's very chilled out.
He's very chilled out, and I think he just believes in me, so I don't think he would worry about us not being able to do it. I think he believed that we'd work hard and do our best, and that's all parents want, really, isn't it? My mum was equally supportive, but she, whenever people asked what I was doing for a couple of years after uni, she'd say, "Oh, she's just finding her way." And it was fine though. I let her say that. I think she doesn't, she worries that things will go negatively, so she doesn't want to put too much into like believing they'll go positively, and that's just her. But she was still supportive, and I think in a way the day when she started saying she runs her own business, it kind of meant more that we'd have to work even longer to get it. But all parents helped out a lot. They came to Reading. None of them live in Reading. They came and helped paint. Andrew's dad printed things for us. My dad has electrical knowledge that he helped us with, taught to me, so I can make our puzzles that are electronic. So yeah, they were all,
even grandparents. My nan supplied, she was moving house at the time, and she had a lot of stuff that was really cool and old, some of it, and then she was like, "Do you want this?" And we were like, yeah, that'll fit in quite nicely.
True. And she also she like crocheted those things for us, so parents and grandparents were very helpful.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay, this is fascinating. So instead of spending money on stuff, you managed to get your family to become your voluntary donations of equipment and furnishings and various artifacts. Yeah. So did you pitch to them? Because like I'm thinking, I'm really interested to know, how did you manage to get them involved? Did they just sort of pick the hand up and go, "Look, I'm going to help you guys. You seem like you need some help," or "I'm interested to help"? Or did you go to, we just need, did you find yourself pitching to your family, did Gran get a pitch from you, Andrew? That's the question I need to ask you guys.
I think we definitely asked at the beginning. I think a lot of when we've kind of achieved things it is because we've just asked. Like when we went around looking for space for pop-up games, we just went and asked people, because if you don't ask, you don't get. And
I'm a bit more,
you're a bit more reserved, aren't you? But
I'll wait until someone offers, whereas Katie's like, "Can you do this?"
I'm always like, they can say no, like you may as well ask them. So yeah, I think
we
just
repaid
said
them in food and love.
Yeah, we always gave pizza to help us. Oh, actually, we had quite a few friends also helped. It wasn't just parents. Yeah, when we couldn't afford stuff, we definitely made use of the kind offerings of friends and family. Yes.
That's one way.
I love that. I love that. So let's talk about marketing. I think it's my favorite subject in business. You know, how you actually can promote a business and grab people by the face that are in Reading. They've got no interest in going to an escape room. They've already decided what they're doing for the next 6 months, because it's the same as what they were doing for the previous 6 months. And they're quite happy with how they're spending their money. Thank you very much. But somehow you managed to reach out of a phone or a computer screen or into the street or off of a newspaper, grab people by the face and bring them to a place where they buy tickets. What were the things that you did in the early days to get customers? What sort of activity did you do that was practical, that went, this is going to get us business?
Yeah, I think, again, same with me. I think marketing and brand strategy is my favorite thing. It was my favorite they were my favorite modules in university. So I think we recognized the importance of having a strong brand right from the beginning. And I watched the live stream you did with on Tuesday. which
Oh,
is
cool.
really interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I think we realized that escape rooms are found on the internet. So a lot of our presence needed to be on the internet. So we made a website for basically more or less for free on Wix. At the time, it wasn't amazing. It's definitely got better. And yeah, we put a lot into social media because again, social media is free. You don't need to pay to have a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram account. And it was just sort of being consistent with it and sort of dedicating time to it. There was obviously there wasn't a lot of time that we had because we were busy building the venue out and the games. But it was sort of giving people little teasers of what was to come. So our first game was our permanent venue was a medieval themed experience. So we had all these cool props that were sort of showing them off on social media and on our website. And it was, yeah, trying to get the press involved as well. So we had been, even before we got our permanent venue, on, yeah, Get Reading at the time, BBC Berkshire, BBC South, through basically you guys. So we'd already had good exposure, and it was just sort of making use of that as well, which was important.
I love that. Did you have to do any extra activity to engage local media, or had you done enough already that they were sort of interested in what you were doing and they picked it up on social media and, oh, we've seen these guys on the telly, we should go and talk to them about the paper? How did that come about?
I think it was, we'd made a contact at the Fringe through both the radio and the paper, the local newspaper. So we sort of got back in touch with those guys. So I think having contacts in the right areas is really, obviously, really, really important. I think that's one of the most important things you'll find when owning a business, is having contacts that you can constantly go back to. I did even try to have almost a press night where for the opening of our game, I sent out a few invitations to actual addresses in the post, and none of them replied, so that wasn't worth it. It might be worth it for someone else, but it didn't work for us. But no, it was basically the contacts we already had, so that we
Right.
got back in touch with.
I love that you tried it, though. I love that you
Yeah.
tried it. We've got a couple of people that you might recognize the names of. Someone called Glenn and someone called Louise. They're quite active on the chat tonight. I think you might know who they are.
Yeah, mum and dad.
Hey, mum and dad. Glenn has said that it was great building into the dream. So they've enjoyed that. And I think your parents are very proud of you both. So I'm not surprised either. I'm just in awe of you guys, because when I was checking out the website in preparation for this evening, I was looking on your About Us page. Well, actually, I've looked at all of the pages of your website. I've gone through it in fine detail. Right. Does that worry you?
It's only recently been done. So if you spot any mistakes,
look,
yeah,
I tell you what, I think my favourite bit of all is the pictures of you two with microphones make you look like full of gravitas and importance. Professor Pooch. I mean, you really, like, the folks that are watching this really need to look at TimeTrapEscapeRooms.com. Professor Poch and Professor Pooch. That top line of team members is brilliant. You've got 14 members of the team.
Yeah, a couple are missing from that page, but most of the guys are on there.
This is amazing. And you've got these experience makers, and everybody looks like they're having fun. And I think, you know, I think the bit we're going to get onto in a moment is about when you're running in a business that's got a physical premises. The world's changed a little bit over the last few weeks. No doubt that's impacted you massively, and how you've managed to pivot your business and do some stuff online is super interesting. We're going to dive into that. Before we get there, I want to talk about growing the team, because I know there's some folk that will be watching this thinking, well, you know, as soon as this lockdown nonsense is finished and hopefully the world returns to some sort of normality, I know there'll be some people that are interested in building their business further and taking advantage of new opportunities that are out there in the world right now. So that might mean growing in terms of the staff that you hire. What was it like getting your first kind of team members that weren't family or friends, that had been press ganged into emptying their lounge and giving you all of their stuff? But, you know, the first team member proper, what did that feel like for you guys? How did that come about?
I think for me, I always said that when we I don't know if I said it, but I always thought that
You
once
did.
we employ our first sort of employee, that'll be when I sort of say we've made it almost, because I think when you can not only support yourself enough, but then to be able to start supporting other people, that was really that was quite rewarding, and it was quite a nice feeling.
Yeah, we didn't really know what we were doing. I do the HR side of the business, so I obviously did a lot of research and read a lot about hiring. We tried, well,
You were in recruitment for a little bit. So
the job I hated was in recruitment, so I sort of slightly knew some things from that.
It was almost like you planned it, Katie.
I think, well, we firstly put an application together, which we made it enough. It needed enough work to fill in that only people that really wanted a job would bother to do it. So that was definitely a good move. It also kind of tried to get our personality, the TimeTrap personality, across a bit. So hopefully attract the right people, which again, I think it did. And we've had a lot of people say, I've really liked your application. Not before they got the job, but even after they got the job, they still say that. And then when we did interviews, they were probably quite long, because at first we just hired part-time roles, but we probably spoke to people for 1 to even 2 hours sometimes. And in a way, we kind of just hire people that we would like to be friends with. And it works. Like, obviously, they need to have the skills that we're looking for. That comes first. But I think we've built a really lovely team who genuinely like each other and get on. We even have a couple now in the team, because we've brought people together, obviously.
Right.
And their personalities match. And I think,
awesome.
I think that's the secret to a team that works well together, is to almost make it a group of friends.
I think it was even like the experience maker title. Most escape rooms employees are called games masters, and we wanted to sort of reflect. It was almost like a take on the Disney. They call their employees cast members at the theme parks. It was also almost like mirroring that, and we wanted to sort of say that we make experiences, so you're going to be an experience maker. So there was a lot of thought went into the whole process.
The role was to make the experience for our customers, not just to run a game, but to be a face. So that was important. And since then we do have some full-time members now, but we always take people in at the bottom, and then they grow and they fill those roles. So I think we kind of train people from the start into the right mindset. And the first person we ever hired, Rachel, is still with us. And over half the team have been with us at least a year. And I think retaining people is also super important. And them growing and taking on responsibility with the business means that they end up doing the best job possible, I think. Do you think that?
I think that.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this conversation so much, and I'm learning so much from you guys. I'm 20 years older than you, and it's very frustrating that you have these insights already. And I'm very, very excited for you and very proud of what you've done. And you're like benchmarking yourselves on Disney. Now, I've heard Disney a reasonable business, so I think that makes a lot of sense to me to role model, to look at role models and apply that to your own business. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I was going to invite some folk that are watching. So just to let you know, there's a few comments coming in. So Katie Coombs, who is one of our top presenters at PopUp. You probably haven't met Katie. She joined the team a couple of years ago, almost to the day, actually. She says that she loves real stories and real life people making it work. Well done. And with one of these emojis. I can't agree with her more. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. And Fran has said that she's enjoying that. She says, well done, Katie and Andrew. She's enjoying the live streams that we've been doing, and well done to you guys for what you've achieved. So there's three things on my mind now. One is about what happened with Germany. One is about when you did your first sort of kind of corporate gig, and found a different kind of customer, what that meant for you guys. And third thing is about running online games and, what's happened since the virus. And maybe it was in your mind before the virus happened. So it would be good to chat about that stuff. So which came first? Was it launching something in Germany, or was it the corporate sector?
The corporate. It was by accident, almost. So
Even
when
better.
we were when we were running the Dickens pop-up, so this was right back then. Do you want me to not say the name? We'll keep the name. Okay, it was Cisco.
We won't tell anyone, it's fine.
They found us. We don't know how. They found our website, even though it was very new, that we were doing this pop-up, and they asked us if we would bring it to team building events that they were running in like the conference parts of hotels. So we did that, and that was quite a break. So we did one event for them and they liked it. So then we did another event for them, and the hotel that it was at then asked if they could put us on their conference add-on program to offer to other people. So then we also did some team events for other people, and that filled the gap between the end of the Dickens game and when we actually got the keys to our building. So that was basically January, February of 2017. So that was another break. We do get quite a lot of breaks. And I think we weren't planning to probably target corporate that early. I think we were kind of going for what we knew was the main escape room customer base, which is friends and family, the public.
Not our friends and family.
No,
Again.
groups of friends.
Well, them too.
Family.
Take their money too.
Yeah, but we did do that then, and then I think Andrew did quite early on after we got our permanent venue, specifically target corporate customers as well. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons we chose to set up in Reading was because escape rooms are good on the weekend for, like Katie said, friends and family. Katie's joking. She's
okay. Yeah.
And then in the weekday,
if she starts screaming, you can go too, and I can just fill in and.
Yeah, on the weekend it's friends and family, stag do's, hen do's, that kind of thing. And then during the week, where you can make sort of a little extra money is through the corporates, and Reading obviously has a big,
huge,
tech sector. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons we chose to set up in Reading.
Great stuff. And how did you actually do that, Andrew? Did you reach out on social media? Did you, how did you specifically promote yourselves to those corporate organizations? Was that an email thing, or what went through your mind, and how did that happen?
She's okay. Yeah,
we were worried about you, Katie. It's okay. the internet has no, they're not interested. It's fine. I'm sure they're concerned about you too, but we're glad that you're back in one piece. Very good.
It was, I think, one of the main ways we've done it is that we've always had a team building sort of corporate section on our website, and we focused on the SEO for that quite a lot. And then eventually we started advertising on Google, so spending a bit of money on advertising, which we didn't do that right at the start, but eventually we did. So it's mainly digital, online that we do it. And I think having a corporate team building page just says to people that they can easily access that information. If you don't have that sort of as an escape room, or if for any events company that you want to target corporates, then it's just a very easy thing to do, and that's what we did. And I think that's the main way we've attracted corporates.
Very nice. So how did you get TimeTrap Escape Rooms to show up on Google before you started spending money with Google? Where did you learn your SEO knowledge from? So you type in escape room Reading into Google. I'm guessing TimeTrap Escape Rooms would do pretty well on that. Where did that knowledge come from?
Again, so that was from university. So we had a digital marketing module in, I think it was second or final year. So I had a sort of a basic knowledge from there. And then there's so many resources on YouTube I think Google have quite a good resource themselves. I think it's Google Digital Garage, I think it was called at the time.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of sort of YouTube training, I guess, and just working my way through them. So there's so many resources online for SEO learning that I think anyone can access that really.
Yeah, good stuff. Helen Lawson, the fabulous Helen, who's a wellbeing consultant from the Southeast, she says that you don't get breaks, you make breaks. I think you were being very humble about getting breaks, but you guys have worked really hard, haven't you?
Alan always tells me.
Yeah, Alan always tells me off for that. I think it's if you do the setup, then they'll follow. But it always seems like they're just coming from nowhere. So
that's because you get your brand out there. That
you do the legwork and then it happens.
Great stuff. So you're launched in Germany. I remember Henry telling me this. You launched in Germany. How on earth did that happen?
Oh, I'll do the beginning. You do the end. Okay. So it started with another small business in Reading, a barber shop, and Chris was the man who owned it. And he messaged us out of the blue to say that he had spare space and did we want to do a pop-up game. I think thanks to Andrew's great social media work ever since the beginning, he could see that we'd done pop-ups before and he could get a feel for us, because he could have approached another escape room in Reading because there were some by this point, but he picked us. And we went to view the space, and to cut a long story short, we decided to do a game raising money for a local charity that prevents homelessness or works to prevent homelessness. And when we were thinking about exactly the game we would create, the theme, that's always how we start when we create a game, I just felt like it was really wrong to make a game that was frivolous and fun like most escape rooms and then just give some money to a charity like in the background. So we decided to actually use the game to raise awareness of the issue of homelessness, which was a bit risky because no one had really done that before with escape rooms. It's not what people expect when they play an escape room. We had to be really sensitive because you don't want to look like you're trivializing the issue. But it all went well. It was well received by the escape room industry and also the community of Reading. And because it was unique, it just generated a buzz and it got noticed. We were asked to speak at the UK Escape Room Industry Conference and the European Escape Room Industry Conference because of it. And that was how it was noticed by a couple called Sean and Donna, who are based in Germany.
They're not a couple.
Sorry, two people who work together and happen to be in Germany, attended the conference, and they basically were wanting to do something socially conscious, and they wanted to basically license that game. It was called The Divide. It's called Das System in Germany because it had to be translated. So, well, carry on.
What's the second part?
About how we actually did it.
So it was like you said, it was us with the mic. That's us at the conference. They saw us there. They saw our presentation, and it was from that they talked to us and said, "This looks really cool. We'd like to do something like this in Germany." It was quite interesting just working with them because how people donate to charity in the UK is they said is very different in Germany. I think they said the UK is more sort of giving. So it was interesting to see if it would work. But yeah, they're a really good team over there, so they made it work really well. And yeah, it's really cool that sort of our product is now international. And we did have interest from the US as well, which didn't materialize. But yeah, it's really cool to see that your brand that you've created is sort of going worldwide. Yeah.
It is also touring in the UK, so we had some interest from fellow escape room owners because they knew that it was just a 3-month pop-up in Reading, and so we had interest to take it. So it went, when it closed in Reading, it went to Brighton, and then it went to Portsmouth, which is where it is now. not running, sadly, but we hope it will then also move on in due course. So it's still going.
Fantastic idea. I know the CEO of Shelter, so when we get off this live stream, I'm going to send him an email because I think he'd be fascinated to hear about what that is, and maybe there's a tie-up there for you guys. So I think I know exactly what you mean about having an international flavor, and you sort of pinch yourself and go, yeah, our thing is running in Morocco now. It's like a normal thing, and your escape room idea is happening in Germany. This is normal. This is normal life for you guys. I'm sure America is only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. Brilliant. So look, the pandemic happened. The world changed, and you've got a venue that people can't go to at the moment. Talk to us about the online thing. I think Jack has stuck a link to. Yeah, he's put a link at the bottom of the thread to the online games. Was that something that you had already planned, that you're already doing, or is this something that came about as a response to adapting the business?
Yeah, so once it was quite clear that we were going to have to close, we did start sort of creating an online play-at-home game. We then decided that we weren't going to go down that route. We wanted to try and save costs as quickly as we could, so we sort of almost went into hibernation for a little bit. And then, so the online game isn't actually our product that we created. It actually came about through another escape room in Brighton again. So the escape room industry itself is massively collaborative and very open to idea sharing, and yeah, it's really friendly. So you don't get sort of, there's not much competition. There is competition, but you're not sort of,
there's not much
fighting.
Competitiveness.
Yeah, you're not fighting for control of a market, basically. So yeah, it's actually created by guys in Brighton called Boulderbox, and they said, do you want to, we're good friends with them, so they said, do you want to resell it? And we said yeah, and yeah, so that's come out of that, and it's done really well.
I think it's definitely worth talking about that. It's not always right to just do everything that you think of that you could do. Like, we'd started developing this game. It was a paper-based game, so it wasn't like print at home, not web-based. We started developing it, but we
looked at how much money it could make.
Yeah,
and
the furlough scheme was announced, and we had 3 of our team working on it. And economically, the sales of it, because it was so much less than coming to our normal escape rooms, it economically was better to furlough the team than to carry on with it. And I think, like, running a business successfully is sometimes about deciding not to do things like that. But
we've gone in a different direction, in that we started consulting more on sort of bespoke projects. So a friend referred us to someone who wanted an escape room style event at his wedding. We're working with the Reading Fringe Festival on a online digital commission, and then we're also working with the local authority on something else that hopefully we'll be able to put on after lockdown. And we're thinking about creating our own outside game. So I think, looking at the way the government strategy is shifting, I think we're not going to be able to open for another couple of months at least, I'd imagine. But I think people will be able to, people are able to go outside and exercise, and if they can match that exercise up with an escape room style game, then hopefully we're going to try and deliver that to them. So it'll be Reading based. It won't be something you can do everywhere, but yeah, we're looking into that now as well.
We've taken each stage as it comes and reevaluated what we're doing. So yeah, as Andy said, at first we just hibernated for a bit and watched what's happening, because this is weird. Like, no one knows how to react to this necessarily. Nobody can predict what's going to happen. So we sat tight for a while whilst we made our decisions, and then we had about 500 plans of where we could go depending what happened. And I think the online game that we're selling, it's great because Andrew was able to use our existing sort of social media, our reach to sell that. It didn't require a lot of input from us, so that's been great. And then the consulting projects, those are things we were doing before, and that it tends to be Andrew and I that work on those projects rather than our staff. So with them furloughed, we keep working on that. It keeps our costs down, but we're still producing something.
Great stuff. We've got so we had a viewer from New Zealand. We've had people from Namibia watching. So my friend Doris is a lawyer in Namibia. She's been watching our live stream tonight. We've now got Chad from California that's joined us. I think Chad's watched every single live stream that we've done. We've also had someone from Faversham. Russell's tagged Robert Duffy from Clever Dilemma. You guys must know Robert from Clever Dilemma in Faversham.
We do, yeah.
We've played
their games.
Very good.
I love this. So he hasn't said anything nasty about you, so it sort of supports the view that that it's a very friendly community, which is fantastic. Chad is offering some ideas for games if you want them. So he is a very creative guy. He is full of ideas. He shared some ideas with PopUp too. So Chad, get in contact with Andrew and Katie if you guys want some extra ideas. That would be good.
Always.
And Helen's saying that adaptability is what we all need to foster, not just for now, but in our entire future. Uncertainty is the only certainty.
Ooh,
I love this.
How wise.
No, Helen is very wise indeed. Very philosophical stuff. So folks, thank you very much for watching tonight's live stream. If you jump onto the link at the bottom of the thread, it will take you through to the online game that Andrew and Katie have been promoting. And there's a very scary looking dude in the video. It looks like a lot of fun. I think the PopUp team should do it because it's only for the sum of 15 English pounds. And for 15 English pounds, you can be entertained for up to 6 players for a multiplayer online escape room adventure. Sounds outstanding.
Yeah, it's good. It's accessed. You can access it from different homes. You can play with, people that you're not with.
Perfect. Well, I think we should give that a go. Guys, I'm absolutely enthralled with your story. I've learned so much from you tonight, which is really cool. And I'm going to steal all of your best ideas and implement them on the Pop-Up Business School about how we can hire staff, how we can grow the team, how we can launch in Germany and pivot our business online. We've covered lots of ground tonight. Thank you so much for giving up an hour. We're very proud of what you've achieved. And it looks like some of your friends and family are too. So congratulations and stay safe and well. Thank you to everybody for watching. Next week on Tuesday evening, we have got Laurie. Laurie is phenomenal. She is a hypnosis expert, and she's got so much incredible value to give to all of us about her, about well-being, about making lifestyle changes. She's made her own lifestyle changes, which I'm sure we'll talk about next week. So if you're curious about hypnosis, if you want to listen to someone who's got fantastic energy, ideas, information, inspiration, then we'll see you on Tuesday evening next week at 9 p.m. Thank you for Jack, who behind the scenes has been, he's actually drunk. That's why he's not on tonight. He's been drinking too much. Thank you to Jack for all of his help. Andrew and Katie, it's an absolute pleasure as always. If you want to find out more about these guys, the Rebel Entrepreneur podcast featuring Andrew and Katie, specifically about how you can start a business without spending money that doesn't belong to you. Debt-free entrepreneurship is what these guys have role modeled. They chatted to Alan for a good chunk of time. That episode came out on Monday. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all soon. Cool. Jack, hopefully you're going to click the button, and then we can go off into the sunset for the night. See you soon, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.